Hello and welcome back to the old school Ironman. We're ready for another episode. It's been a couple days since I recorded on this account. We got ourselves up to 72 mining. While I was just kind of not really doing anything else, but just mining during the workday. Also doing some farm runs, and we got up to 73 farming, which is like, I actually really like farming on old school. I think it's the whole farming contract thing kind of makes it feel like Slayer, so it feels like such a more active skill, and it's so much more important than it is on RS3, just the way it all works out. So while mining here, you get pay dirt, and you turn the pay dirt into this hopper, and it comes out in various forms of ore. And we picked up a lot of ore. We got coal, gold, and mithril. And if we look at how much that's banked, I don't actually know the exact amount, but I would guess it's 63 to 64. I haven't looked at the math, but it's somewhere in there, which is important because we want to get to 59 smithing for a bunch of medium diaries, and then 60 smithing so that we can use the blast furnace for free. While we were here, we also picked up 331 gold nuggets, and you get a gold nugget about once every 40 pay dirt that you mine. So that means we did about 12,000 pay dirt, which now if we talk to Prospector Perry, we can ask to unlock the upper floor. So if you've got level 72 money, you could pay to use my restricted mine up the ladder. 100 nuggets gives you unlimited access. So we're going to get the restricted mine access. So that means we can go up here, and the veins up here work differently where they go based on time instead of based on the amount of ore you get. So it's considerably more AFK and why people sit up here. Apart from that, we are going to buy a coal bag and a gem bag. These both cost 100 golden nuggets each. So we have 31 left over. And then the next thing we're going to buy is the Prospector Outfit, and the full outfit costs 180 nuggets. So once we get 150 more, we're going to buy that full outfit, which we need for a Master Clue step and the Fally Hard Diary. This coal bag is extremely important for training smithing, but when we get to that point, I'll update you on how that works. In terms of goals for this episode, we want to get our lowest two skills, so that's Runecrafting and Slayer, up. And by getting those up, we just kind of can start Tears of Gothics, whole bunch of things, and it'll make our total levels go up, and it's good to get it out of the way early. But with how RuneScape works, we want to do that with questing. And the first quest we're going to do is Shiloh Village, because that unlocks us Shiloh Village, and it's a requirement for a lot of quests in the future. Let's get to it. And quest complete. Not only do we get access to Shiloh Village, which gives us access to the gem rocks, we also picked up 4k crafting XP, getting us ever so closer to 61. I forgot to mention this when going over our mining spoils, but we actually picked up a lot of uncut gems here. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut all of them to get our crafting up ever so closer to 61, and then I have a plan here in Shiloh Village to get us up to 61. So this is going to be our plan. We are going to be mining these gem rocks for 10,000 crafting XP, and specifically there's 3 items we want to get from these low-level gems. First of all, we want to get a ton of opals because we need them for 2 items. We need them for the expeditious bracelets and the dodgy necklaces. So we need these for 2 of them. We need them for the expeditious bracelet and the dodgy necklace. The expeditious bracelet is going to be very important later in this episode when we start our Slayer, as when we're on low-level tasks, we just want the task to be over as quick as possible so we can get to the next one to get more Slayer points to start unlocking things. Now, the dodgy necklaces are very important for thieving because every time you fail, the dodgy necklace will protect you, and it's very good to have. And as I finished my dinner, we got enough. We have about 55 opals to make about 30 of those into expeditious bracelets, gonna make the slaughter bracelets, and then we'll save the rest for dodgy necklaces in the future. But to Edgeville we go. So these are Bracelets of Slaughter, and essentially what they do is there's a 25% chance on each one that you kill that your Slayer task won't drop down. This is useful for when you want to keep a specific Slayer task to keep your damage up, like say a boss, or it's a Slayer task only monster and you want to make sure that you maximize the task. So these are useful. They're more of a late game item, but I had the topaz in the bank, so I thought Might as well. Opal bracelets, on the other hand, are the exact opposite, and they're expeditious bracelets. They also come with 30 charges, and there's a 25% chance that each one of them gets you 2 kills on a Slayer task. So when you want to get through tasks quickly, either it's a bad XP task, or you want to boost for Slayer points, these are perfect. And I figure we're gonna need about 30 of them, I think, to get up to like the Slayer goal we have this episode. This is what I'm gonna be calling. This is what I'm gonna be calling super efficient. We need 61 crafting for lunar diplomacy, but if we look at the quest requirements for lunar diplomacy, we also need to do the Fremnik Trials quest. And what does the Fremnik Trials quest give? 2,800 crafting XP. So we're basically done. So for this fight, you have to kill Kasochi. You're supposed to have no weapons. But you can make a drum and stuff once you enter in here. And then you can staff batch him. Yeah, there's 4 forms in total, but the 4th one you can kill to yourself. Like you will die to the 4th one, but it doesn't actually kill you. So I made a bit of a critical mistake. It turns out that we actually need a bullseye lantern for lunar diplomacy, and we don't have 49 smithing. So we need to figure out another way to get a bullseye lantern, and the way we're going to get that is by doing the Death to the Dorgashin quest. We're going to have to do this quest eventually. Might as well get it out of the way now. And that was quick. Death to the Dorgashin is done. We now have access to the city of Dorgashin, where we can go through this door. And there's a lot of good things about this area, but I'm not going to get into them too specific right now, but when we get to the point where it becomes relevant, we'll talk about it more. But the reason why I wanted to come here is to pickpocket from these cave golem guards. There is a 1 in 20 chance to get a bullseye lantern. And our success rate will be kind of high. It won't be that good because, well, we're relatively low level thieving, but it's not terrible. And that was like 10 big buckets. We got pretty lucky. So this is where Quest Helper goes from very nice to have in game to like ridiculously OP. I don't like this. I'm going to take advantage of it because I've done this stupid puzzle like 50 times maybe. But yeah, this is something that I think they should take away from Quest Helper. Like, say like find your path and then just don't give the actual answer. I think this also works for Underground Pass, Song of the Elves, any sort of quest where you have to like figure out these sort of paths. But at least it's saving me some time. And now lunar diplomacy is done. Oh, we got up to 22 RC, which was one of the motivations for this quest. And we can always swap over to the lunar spellbook now by praying on here. And there's one spell that I'm really looking forward to, and that's Super Glass Make. But unfortunately, we don't have the magic level yet. So once we get up to 77 magic, we'll be able to use that spell to use up all the seaweed we have in the bank, which I think will get us like really close to level 80 crafting for a glory amulet. So we had to come back to MTA for a short little soiree to get our mud rune for the Eyes of Gluffrey quest. And the Eyes of Gluffrey quest is done. This gives us 2 quest points, 6,000 rune crafting XP, which was our main motivation for this. And on top of that, we get a crystal saw seed, which we could turn into the crystal saw, which will help us make things above our construction level because it gives you like an invisible +3 boost when you use it. Beyond that, we are very close to level 30 runecrafting, which is our goal, because at 30 runecrafting, we can use Tears of Guthics to get the maximum amount of XP, because if you didn't know, Tears of Guthics stops scaling after level 30. It's like maxes out on your XP per tier, so that's where we get the most benefit out of it. So we're gonna do one last little thing to get our tiny amount of XP we need to get from 29 to 30, and then we'll be done with runecrafting training, even though we really haven't been doing any runecrafting training. So we're at the Arceus library here, and one of the tasks here is to help out these people in finding books. And every time you hand in one of these books, you get 2.5% favor in Hasidius' house. So I've already done 2, and I'll show you when I hand in Hasidius' letter here if I can actually click. So we get a book of Arcane Knowledge, which gives us a choice in either magic or runecrafting XP. I believe it's 12 times your magic level or 4 times your runecrafting level. We're obviously going to pick runecrafting because that XP is more valuable, and this is how we're going to get up to level 30 runecrafting. We're actually going to go farther than that and go all the way up to 100% favor, just so we can say we have that favor all done. best feeling. You just get an inventory full of these, you open up the books, you just go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and you gain Runecrafting XP for days. Hey, up to level 31, and we still need 35%, so I'm going to finish off this favor now. And there is 100% Arceus favor. We did our 40 books, and let's get some more Runecrafting XP. I think we'll get up to 32 here, would be my prediction. Yeah, 32 Runecrafting. And when we do our Tears of Guthics, once we get our Slayer above Runecrafting, we'll get even more XP. Speaking of Slayer, we're going to be starting Slayer pretty much right now. We have one more quest we want to get done. And once we have that quest, we're going to be starting Slayer, and I am super excited. Death Plateau is done, and it's not really listed here on the quest rewards, but we get the ability to get climbing boots. So if we talk to Tenzing, we can buy some climbing boots for 12 GB, which is ridiculously cheap. And if we look at the stats of these boots, they give +2 melee strength, which seems like so little, but for old school, melee strength bonus is key when using melee. That is 50% of a max hit, so about 50% of the time. Depends on what our strength level is, but that's an extra max hit. And if we're maxing 30s without the boots, and then 31s with the boots, that's essentially a 3% increase in DPS. So this is going to be our Slayer setup to start. We got our rune on, and we've maxed out our strength bonus as much as we can in our other equipment slots. We're up to 88 melee strength, which is pretty good. And then on top of that, we have a 95 slash accuracy. So eventually that will get higher and higher, but for now, this is the best we can do. And we're going to be getting tasks from Turiel to start off. Oh, and he gives us Banshees right away. Now, our plan is to do 9 tasks at Turiel, which will get us no Slayer points. And then we're going to go to one of the high-level masters like Simona, Neve, Konar. We can't go to Durdle yet because we're not 100 combat to maximize out the amount of Slayer points we get. That way we can start buying things like superior creatures, the Slayer helmet once we get to 58 Slayer, for Black Mass, just a whole bunch of quality of life things for Slayer. And you really need a ton of Slayer points on old school. It's not like we don't have VIP tickets here. When you get to a certain Slayer level, you might want to start skipping in order to get a certain boss task or swap around your block list for a new Slayer master. So Slayer points are a much more valuable commodity on old school. And there's a cool little message they added at the end of each Slayer task where you get to summarize the XP, your monster kills, your tasks in a row. It's just really cool. 77 strength, you know? Who said low-level Slayer was bad combat XP? So we've completed 9 tasks in a row now, and it says here you'll be eligible to earn reward points if you complete tasks from a more advanced Slayer master. And that's exactly what we're going to do because we have our bonus task now, because on your 10th task you get, I think, 5 times the points. So one of the unique Slayer masters in old school is Konar over here, and she gives the most points per Slayer task, so that's why we're going here for our 10th task. But there's something really cool about her is when she assigns a monster, she also assigns the location you have to kill them. So that can sometimes be really good or sometimes be really bad. But let's see what we get. 132 Dagonoths in the Catacombs. That is insanely good. Like we could get like bronze dragons, and the Catacomb of Krend is a great place to do Slayer. We got our first Brimstone key here. What it does is you can open a chest by Konar, and it gives you a nice little extra drop for being on a Konar task, just a little extra GP or resources. So we'll see what we get from this when the task is over. We also have a medium clue, which we're probably going to end up doing before we leave here. Well, that's crazy. We also got a dark totem base. I really didn't expect to get that. This is like 1 in 300 from Dagonoths. But when you get the 3 dark totem pieces together, you can make a dark totem and then fight like a mini Slayer boss. But we will not be fighting that boss for quite a while because we are very underleveled right now. And Slayer task done. We picked up, what is that? 90 points, giving us a total. Oh yeah, because I was very confused there why we had 30 points beforehand. And that's because we did the A Porcine of Interest quest. But yeah, so we got 90 points there, so we have a total of 120. But we're gonna have to do this like probably like another 10 times before we have enough points to get everything. But let's go use this Brimstone key and see what we get out of it. So the chest is right by Konar, and 35 rubies. And we have the medium casket. This is the first medium clue, so that means we're probably gonna get ranger boots. No, we got a cabbage shield. Oh, that's funny. We got the exact same task, I guess slightly different number, for our second Konar task. So she's basically the Dagonoth master, I guess. Konar task number 2 done. We now have 210 Slayer points. So I'm actually gonna purchase something just in case we happen to get a task with them. But if we go into Tyrio's rewards, we are going to get bigger and better. Increase the risk against certain Slayer monsters with a chance of a superior version spawning while on that Slayer task. The chance is 1 in 200, which is quite rare, especially in consideration with RS3, where you automatically get 1 per task. But at the same time, the ones on old school are so much better. You get so much more experience. You still get the same triple drops. It's well worth killing, and it's a big part of what tasks are good or not. Like if there's a superior on a task, it's probably a good task to get. Okay, this is starting to get a little bit ridiculous. But we got 167 Dagonoth, this time in the lighthouse. What the hell? We've had 3 tasks, and they've all been Dagonoths. Well, 3 tasks from Konar. And Slayer task done. We killed 137 Dagonoth, got 11.2k XP, and I don't think that took maybe an hour. So that was 11k XP, which is pretty good for what we're doing right now, especially a Konar task, because those could be hella slower. But we're done 30 tasks. We have 90 points, and that's going to be a nope. We need an Addy Halberd for this clue, and to get that, we need to go all the way through the underground pass, which well, it's not going to be too far off. We are not ready for it. We only got, what is it, 2 steps in? Yeah, 2 steps in, so it's not too bad to drop, but I'm bound to complete more mediums before the underground pass gets done. So we're trying out a different Hispori setup. Instead of focusing on our range defense being high, we're going to focus on our mage defense being high, as we're wearing the lunar armor, which is mage armor. And then we're going to pray against range and hope for the best. Oh yeah, that went so much better. Like a 2-minute kill. I'm like, we were getting 3-minute kills just because I was eating so much less. And what's our loot going to be? Ooh, 3 maple seeds. We got our first, we'll call it new old school monster slayer tasks. These are sour hogs. And to kill them, you need to have reinforced goggles on. They don't seem too difficult, but they attack with both crush and ranged. So you can't really pray against them, and yeah, it's just probably a longer task than some of the others, and we'll use a little food here. Task done, nothing too, I guess, interesting happened, but I guess that's low-level Slayer for you. A couple more tutorial tasks. We're, 1.1k away from level 42, which is when we're going to be stopping Slayer for now. Maybe I shouldn't have used Bracelets this task. We're 34 XP away. Let's just do one more tutorial task. There's no way we don't get 34 experience. And literally the second kill of the next task, we got 42 Slayer. I'm gonna stick here and complete out this task so I don't have to walk back to the Towerly dungeon when we go to do Slayer. But the reason why we went up to 42 Slayer was because that's the highest quest requirement of what I'll call like the low level quests. There's 2 or 3 quests that require like 50 or up to 69, but they're all quests we're not going to be doing for a very long time. So I don't feel the need to like get up to that level. Also, 42 is about 28k XP above our current RC level at 32. Which gives us, I would say, about a month, so about 4 weeks of doing runecrafting with Tears of Guthix before we get above that 42 threshold, where we'll then have to start training Slayer, Prayer, and Construction to make sure that our Tears of Guthix still go into runecrafting. So we want to do the Tears of Guthix quest in order to start using our Tears of Guthix on runecrafting. But the problem is, or I guess not really a problem, but what we want to focus on first before we do that is our quest points, because the amount of time you get in the Tears of Guthix cave is directly related to your quest points. I think you get 1 tick per quest point, so 0.6 of a second. So right now we'd have like just over a minute in there. So I'm going to complete out all the free-to-play quests I have left. They're all pretty low level, and I'm way past where they would be difficult or even really relevant. Black Knight's Fortress, done. Corsair Curse is done. Miscellane Mystery, done. This is actually a really good quest for what is a free-to-play quest. I quite enjoyed it. Pirate's Treasure, complete. Vampire Slayer, quickly done. 3 quest points. Oh my god, that's 3 quest points. This is why these are so good. And all that remains is Prince Ali Rescue. And Prince Ali Rescue is done. Free-to-play has been completed. Let's go do Tears of Guthix. And Tears of Guthix is complete. Our questing adventure is done. We got up to 138 quest points, so we really bumped that up, and we're getting very close to the 175 needed for Recipe for Disaster. Time to do our Tears of Guthix. We need to empty both our hands, and now we can come in here and basically each one of these blue wells gives us a point, and each one of these green wells loses us a point, and each point gives us experience in our lowest skill, which happens to be Runecrafting, which is a terrible skill to actually train before we get a higher level to ZMI and Blood. So we are going to see how many tiers we get. I believe we get 1 tick for every quest point we have, so we should be in here for like a minute and a half. So 96 tiers, that's not terrible for our quest points. I'm very happy with that amount. And how much experience do we get? 5,000 experience in Runecrafting. So we can anticipate getting 5.7k-ish every single week from now on. So we probably have, is that 23k XP? We have 4 more weeks of Runecrafting before we need to actually train up Slayer, Construction, and Prayer to make sure it still goes into Runecrafting. There is a Lumbridge Diary task for getting 100 tiers in a single visit, which we should be able to do once we get our quest points up to like the 150, 160-ish range. We were very close there. If we had 145 quest points, we'd probably get it that time. But once we get Recipe for Disaster done and have 175 quest points, we'll come back here and get it. But that's going to be the end of this episode. We accomplished a lot. We got our mining up to 72, even though that was mostly in between episodes. We finished the Lunar Diplomacy quest, which unlocks the best crafting training method for Ironman once we get 77 magic for Superglass Make. We also did a bunch of quests, got our Slayer up to 42, and started putting our tiers into Runecrafting. All in all, I feel like we got a lot done this episode. I'll catch you in the next episode next week, and past that, have a good day.